Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everyone outside and in between. This is Patty from MC Voices. Before I say anything, yes, I know it's been 3 weeks since I last vlogged. Well, 2 weeks ago was spring break, and the week before that, I had a terrible case of the flu. I was home and totally bedridden for a few days, so I couldn't even go to campus, much less leave the bedroom. And last week, I was working on a vlog that didn't quite work out the way I planned. But no worries, I am back once again. So to the main topic of the vlog today. Like the title of this vlog states, it's not going to be about puns or jokes. I spent a lot of time thinking what this vlog should be about. Then last week I got a message from an old high school friend, Mekdes, who is a student here at Montgomery College. She was asking for help on behalf of her friend Mimi, who is also a student. An incident had occurred last Tuesday on the Rockville campus. I won't go into specific details because I don't think I can in these vlogs, but I'll do my best. Last week, on Tuesday the 21st, there was a group that was, let's just say, making very politically charged statements out in the open. And with those politically charged statements, they had with them something that I don't think, again, I can say in these vlogs. Now, I believe that everyone is entitled to their own opinions and their own beliefs. And yes, this group has radically different beliefs from my own, and for some reason, they are allowed on campus. But these images that they had were so incredibly hateful and violent that they had no place in a public area in a school. Mimi, my friend's friend, had stopped by and spoke to someone from the group, and they had a relatively civil conversation. However, there was another student who, by seeing these images, got extremely triggered and ran off. In Mimi's words, it was like something in her broke. Mimi followed her and consoled her, which took a while. Then they came up with a plan so the other students wouldn't get exposed to those images. So they got some red paint, walked back over to where the organization was, and painted right over those disgusting images. After that, security was called and citations were given to the girls by the cops. These girls now have to meet with the dean of Montgomery College. Now, I love MC. I've made a lot of close friends, and I've been able to find a community of my own. But harsh penalties for these girls, and the continued presence of this group on campus is something I just cannot get behind. I know there'll be people who watch this vlog who will think it's funny that someone was triggered. If you are one of those people, then you really don't know what it feels like. It's a mental health issue. When someone is triggered, it doesn't mean that they're offended. I know a lot of people lately have been going around saying, "This triggers me," or "You're so triggered," and it's not funny. These things are personal and traumatic, and in most cases, pretty much, you can't and don't choose what triggers you. And it doesn't just affect you mentally and emotionally, it can affect you physically as well. As someone who has triggers, one of which forces me to unwillingly vomit, I can personally say that it's a very painful and unpleasant experience. I don't like vomiting. In fact, I really hate it. But that's what happens. I have seen Montgomery College go above and beyond for its students, and it's encouraging. However, I know of several occasions where a student's well-being and safety were not inevitably prioritized. And this is where I come in with personal anecdotes. For those of you who don't know, there's a dating app called OkCupid. I have a profile on there. Of course I do, I'm a millennial. But I've stopped using it a long time ago. Particularly because the same situation would happen to me over and over again, except in many different ways. This situation, though, was a lot more unique than the others. Last semester, this man with a mostly blank profile had sent me a really creepy message. This was honestly a standard for me on the app, but the things that he was saying were exceptionally disturbing. From the little information that he had provided, it seemed that maybe he could have been a Montgomery College student as well, and apparently he'd seen me around campus a lot. This man was much older than me, and he lived in Silver Spring, and the messages he kept sending me didn't just make me feel unsafe, but I felt really threatened. I was legitimately scared of being on campus and just going from one class to another, and even more so, I was afraid that he'd follow me home. A while after this had all occurred, I found out that he actually had 2 profiles, and that he had messaged me from both. On this app, it tells you when someone views your profile. And the amount of times he'd view mine in one day from both accounts was just astounding. Though he didn't provide any pictures, I saw that on his initial account, he had rather stupidly linked his Instagram account to it, so I took screenshots of him. I didn't recognize this man at all, which terrified me even more because that meant this man was seeing me, but I wasn't seeing him. I only talked to a few close friends about this incident, and because they were all scared for my safety, they told me to go report it to the security office. So I did. And I can honestly say that nothing was gained from that experience. They were polite about it and everything. I talked to them for a couple of minutes. I showed them his pictures. I wrote out a report, and that was it. They gave me a card with a security office number on it, told me to call if I ever saw him and he interacted with me, or if I wanted to be escorted from one class to another, and they sent me off. I still don't know if this man was a student. I still haven't seen him in person. I've never bothered to call the security office, and my profile is now set to be seen only by women, even if I don't use it anymore. It's been months, and I still feel the need to look over my shoulder every now and again while I'm on campus. I could have made more noise about it, but I just kept on blaming myself, and I kept on thinking I was overreacting, and I honestly was a little bit afraid of provoking this man. From what I know, I'm not the only person that this has happened to, and I'm also not the only person whose situation did not get resolved. And this wasn't the first time that treatment from the college has made me feel second class. I'm a second-year student here at MC, but in my first year, I actually dropped out of all of my classes and didn't return until the summer sessions. I believe it was sometime in November in 2015, and I had attempted to commit suicide. It definitely was not the first time I've tried, and it certainly wasn't the last time. But because of the severity of the incident, I had to be placed in a psychiatric ward. Also not the first time I've been placed in a psych ward. I was there for a while, so I had to miss a lot of class time. There was no way for me to personally contact my professors because we weren't even allowed pencils in there, so my mother had to do it for me. My mom got mostly nice and polite responses from my professors, and one really rude email from a rude professor who was just flat out refusing to speak to my mom because of policy, despite the circumstances. Anyway, when I got out, I was incredibly emotionally and mentally unstable. I couldn't even remember to take care of myself or do the most basic things. That was my first college semester after graduating high school, and because I hadn't learned that college and high school aren't really the same thing, I was taking 7 classes at the same time, so I had to drop all of them. By that point, it was way past the deadlines to get refunds. Oh, we tried. I remember it was February and my parents and I were still trying. The only chance of getting a refund was through an involuntary withdrawal. But the college doesn't seem to see mental illness as an illness. Apparently, me being in intolerable pain every single second and wanting to end my own life was not enough for the college to give me my money back. That was over $2,000 on tuition alone. I know I could get into a lot of trouble by bringing these things into light. I know that as a vlogger, these things are really heavy for me to talk about. But before that, I'm a student. The program that I do this for is called MC Voices, and I'm using my voice to help out fellow students. After the election of Donald Trump, the college issued out a statement saying that all students were welcome here, that we were safe here. And by punishing these girls and allowing this group to stay on campus, it contradicts that statement. Our mental health is part of our safety. This isn't even about politics or differing opinions. This is about protecting your students. So Montgomery College, what are you going to do? I'll see you next Wednesday.